Caesar. Beware of Brutus. Watch out for Cassius. Stay away from Casper. Keep an eye on Cinna. Don't trust Trebonius. Guard against Medalus Caesar. You see if Brutus does not love you. All these men have one plan, and it is aimed against you. You are not immortal, look around. Overconfidence leads to conspiracy. May the mighty gods beware the eyes of Mars. My heart laments that virtue cannot live free from the teeth of enemy's rivalry. If you read this, Caesar, you may live. If not, the fate of traitors due to the tribe.
I've observed that lately now I do not sense in your eyes that gentleness and show of friendship that once I used to have. You bear too rough and too strange a look over a friend that loves you.
Cassius, don't be deceived. If I have veiled my eyes, I just reflect my face's troubled shadows merely upon myself. I've been disturbed of late with inner passions which conflict, matters relating only to myself, which may muddy somewhat my behavior. Don't therefore let my good friends be grieved, among which number, Cassius, you be one. Don't think that my neglect means any more than that poor Brutus, warring with himself, forgets to show goodwill to other men.
Therefore, I've misunderstood your feeling. And because of that, this heart of mine has buried thoughts of great value worthy of meditation. Tell me, Brutus, can you see your face?
No, Cassius, for the eye cannot see itself unless reflected by some other thing.
That is true. But it is very much lamented, Brutus, that you do not have such mirrors as will show your hidden worthiness into your eyes so that you might see your shame. I have heard from the most respected men, except immortal Caesar, when speaking of Brutus and groaning under the burdens of our times, wished noble Brutus shared his views.
Into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius, if you would have me seek inside myself for something that is not in me?
Therefore, good Brutus, be prepared to hear. Because you cannot see yourself as well as by reflection, I, your looking glass, will modestly uncover to yourself things about yourself you know not of. Don't be suspicious of me, Brutus. For rabble laughed at me, or if you know, I swear worthless barroom oaths of brotherhood to every loudmouth protester. Or if you know, I would flatter a man and hug him hard before I slandered him. Or if you know, for popularity I would host banquets for all the poor, then think me dangerous.
Fear the people choose Caesar for their king.
Yes. Do you fear it? Then I would think you would not have it so.
I would not, Cassius, though I love him well. And tell me why it is you keep me here so long. What is it you wish to share with me? If it be for the general good, then set honor upon one eye and death in the other, and I shall look upon both indifferent. So let the gods defend me so long as I love the name of honor more than I fear death.
I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I know your outward looks. Honor is the subject of my story. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my private self, I would just as soon as not live to be in awe of such a thing as I myself. I was born as free as Caesar, so were you. We both fed as well, and we could both endure the winter's cold as well as he. For once upon a raw and gusty day, the Tiber chafing with her shores, Caesar said to me, "Dare you, Cassius, leap in with me to these angry waves and swim to yonder point?" As armored as I was, and at his word, I leapt in and begged he follow, which he did. Now the torrent roared, and we did wrestle it with lively muscles, pushing it aside and making headways with heart contested. But before we reached the point proposed, Caesar cried, "Help me, Cassius, or I sink." I, like Aeneas, our great ancestor, who from the flames of Troy upon his shoulders the old Anchises bore. So from the waves of Tiber brought I, the tired Caesar. And this man has now become a god? Cassius, wretched creature who must bend his body if Caesar carelessly just nods on him. He had a fever when he was in Spain. And I observed, when the fit was on him, he did shake. Yes, this god did shake. And his coward lips then turned from red to white. And that eye, whose glance now awes the world, it lost its luster. And then he groaned. That tongue that made the Nomans wrote and write speeches in their book, sadly it cried, "Bring me some drink, Titinius," like a sick girl. God, it amazes me a man of such a poor, low upbringing can rise to the front of the majestic world and bear the victor's palm alone. Why? We men walk about this narrow world, and he's like a colossus, and we walk under his huge legs and peep about to find our dishonorable graves. Men that sometimes are masters of their fate. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. Brutus and Caesar. What should be in that Caesar? Why should that name be honoured more than yours? Right then, yours is a fine name. Sound them, it flows from the mouth as well. Weigh them, it is as heavy. Conjure with it. Brutus will call up spirits as soon as Caesar. They're in the name of all the gods at once. Upon what meat does this our Caesar feed that has made him grow so great? Age, you are ashamed. Rome, you have lost the breed of noble bloods. When since Noah's flood was there a time that was famed with just one man? When until now, when speaking of Rome, her wide walls encompass just one man? Now, is it Rome indeed and room enough, wherein it there is just one man alone? Ah, you and I have both heard our fathers say there was a Brutus once that would face the eternal devil to keep his rank in Rome as easy as face a king.
That you're my dear friend, I don't doubt at all. What you would work me towards, I think I know. As for now, I would not, if as a friend, I may ask you, be any further urged. What you have said, I will consider. And what you have to say, I will hear patiently. Find time both right to hear and answer such high things. But until that time, noble friend, chew upon this. Brutus would rather be a village dolt than claim to be a son of Rome under such hard conditions as these times seem they will lay upon us.
I'm glad my weak words have sparked just thus much fire from Brutus.
Let me have been about to get on fast. Sleep had admitted, and as such had sleep at night. That Cassius is a leading hungry roach. He thinks too much. Such men are dangerous.
Don't fear him, Caesar. He's not dangerous. He is a noble rover and well disposed.
I'd like him back, but I fear him not. Though for my heritage were prone to fear, there's none I would avoid so much as that thing Cassius. He reads much. He's a great observer, and he sees the multitude of men's deeds. He loves no places usually. Seldom he smiles, and he smiles in such a way as if he mocked himself and scorned to think he could be made to smile at anything. Such men as he can never be at heart seized while they behold a greater in themselves, and therefore are very dangerous. Now, I tell you what's to be feared, not what I fear, for always I of Caesar. Come and tell me what you truly think.
Would you speak with me?
Yes, Cassius. Tell us what happened today that Caesar looks so sad.
Why, you were with him, were you not?
Then I would not have asked Caspar what had happened.
Why, there was a crown offered him. And being offered him, he put it by with the back of his hand, thus, and the people fell to shouting.
What was the second noise for?
Why, for that too.
There were 3 cries. What was the last cry for?
Why, for that too.
Was the crown offered him 3 times?
Indeed it was. And he put it by 3 times, each time gentler than before. And at every putting by, my honorable neighbors shouted.
Tell us how it happened.
I can't as well be hanged as tell you what went on. It was pure foolery. I didn't pay attention. I saw Mark Antony offer him a crown, yet it wasn't a proper crown neither. It was one of these coronets. And as I told you, he put it by once. But for all that, to my thinking, he would willingly have had it. Then he offered it to him again, and he put it by again. But for all that, to my thinking, he was very reluctant to lay his fingers off it. Then he offered it to him a 3rd time, and he put it the 3rd time by. And still, as he refused it, the rabble hooted and clapped their roughened hands and threw up their sweaty nightcaps and offered such a mass of stinking breath because Caesar refused the crown that it almost choked Caesar, for he swooned and fell down. For my own part, I dared not laugh for fear of opening my lips and receiving the bad air.
Careful, please. What did Caesar swoon?
He foamed at his mouth and was speechless.
It is very likely. He has the falling sickness.
No, he doesn't have the sickness. You, I, on his casket, we have the sickness.
I don't know what you mean by that, but I do know Caesar fell down. And if the ragtag or riffraff didn't applaud and hissed him as they used to do the players in the theater, I am no true one.
What did he say when he came to himself?
Listen, before he fell, when he perceived the classless mob was glad he had refused the crown, he plucked wide open his jacket coats and offered them his throat, cut. If I'd been any kind of workman, if I'd have not taken him at his word, you can send me to hell among the roads. And so he fell. When he came to himself again, he said, if he had done or said anything wrong, he desired their honors to think of his infirmity. 3 or 4 wenches where I stood cried, alas, good soul, and forgave him with all their hearts. But there's no notice to be taken of them. If Caesar had stabbed their mothers, they'd have done no less.
And after that, he became quite sad away.
Yes.
Did Cicero say anything?
Yeah, he spoke Greek.
What did he say?
No. If I try to tell you that, I'll never look you in the face again. But those that understood him smiled at one another and shook their heads. But for my own part, it was Greek to me. There was more news, too. Baryllus and Flavius, for pulling scarves off Caesar's images, are put to silence. Fare you well. There was more foolery yet, if I could.
Will you dine with me tonight, Casca?
No. I'm engaged.
Will you lunch with me tomorrow then?
Yes, if I still be alive and your mind not changed and your dinner worth the eating.
Good. I will expect you.
Do so. Goodbye, both.
A dull-minded woman she's grown to be. She was quick-minded when she went to school.
And so is she now by taking on a bold and noble enterprise, despite how she puts on that sluggish style. Her roughness is a source to her good wit, which makes it easier to digest her words with better appetite.
And so it is. For now, then, I will leave you. Tomorrow, if you please to speak with me, I will come to your home. Or if you wish, come to my home and I will wait for you.
I will do so. Until then, think of the world. You are noble, Brutus, but I sense how your spirit may be meant from how it is now disposed. So it is best that noble minds keep company with those like them. For who is so firm he cannot be seduced? Caesar does grudge me hard, but he loves Brutus. If he were Cassius and I were Brutus, he would not influence me. Tonight, with varied penmanship, I will in his window throw writings as if they came from several citizens, emphasizing the great opinion Rome holds on his name, wherein Caesar's ambitions will be hinted at. then Caesar better check his seed is sure. For we will shake him, or worse days endure.
Good evening, Casca.
You escorted Caesar. Why are you out of breath? Why stare so?
Are you not moved when all the rule that sways the earth shakes like an unfirmed thing? I have seen the tempest when the scolding winds split the knotty oaks, and I have seen the ambitious ocean swell and rage and foam to be exalted by the threatening clouds. But never till tonight, never till now, did I go through a tempest that dropped fire. Either there is a civil war in heaven, or else the world, too scornful towards the gods, incenses them to send destruction.
Why? Saw you anything more wonderful?
A common slave, you know him well by sight, held up his left hand, which then flamed and burned like 20 torches joined. Yet his hand, not feeling any fire, remained unscorched. Besides, I have not since resheathed my sword. Facing the Capitol, I met a lion who glared upon me and paced surly past me without annoying me. And there, drawn into a heap, were 100 ghastly women transformed with their fear, who swore they saw men all in fire walk up and down the streets. When these weird wonders come so in combination, don't let men say these are rational, these are natural. For I believe they are prophetic signs directed towards the land they happen.
Indeed. This is a strangely disposed time, but men interpret things after their fashion, counter to the purpose of the things themselves. Tell me, does Caesar come to the capital tomorrow?
He does. For he sent word to Antonio to tell you he will be there tomorrow.
Good then, Casca. This deserved sky is not to walk in.
Who's there?
A Roman!
Casca by your voice.
Your ear is good, Cassius. What night this is.
A very pleasing night to honest men.
Whoever knew the heavens to minutes so.
Those that have seen the earth so full of forms. For my part, I have walked these streets submitting myself to the perilous night. Thus, unfastened Casca, as you see, have bared my bosom to the thunderbolt. And when the blue cross lightning seemed to open up the breast of heaven, I did present myself in the aim and very flashing.
Why then did you so much tempt the heavens? It is the role of men to fear and tremble when the mighty gods, by symbols, send such dreadful heralds to astonish us.
You are dull, Casca. And those sparks of light that should be in a Roman you do lack. Or you don't use them. You look pale and gaze and seem afraid to lose yourself to the wonder of the strange impatience of the heavens. But if you would consider the true cause why all these fires, why all these gliding ghosts, why birds and beasts act so unnatural, why old men, fools, children count weird sights, why all these things change from their natural ways, their performed faculties of monstrous qualities, why you shall find that heaven has infused these spirits for instruments of fear and warning of some monstrous state. I could name to you, Casca, a man quite like this dreadful man, that thunders and lightens, open graves and roars just like the lion in the Capitol. A man no mightier than yourself and I in personal action, but prodigious grown and dreadful as these strange eruptions are.
It's Caesar you mean? Is it not?
Let it be who it is. For Rome now has strength and limbs like their ancestors. But woe the day our fathers' minds are dead, and we are governed by our mother's spirits. Our yoke and meekness show us womanish.
Indeed. They say the senators mean to establish Caesar as a king tomorrow, and he shall wear his crown on sea and land in every place but here in Italy.
I know where I'll wear my dagger. Cassius from bondage will deliver Cassius. Where in you gods you make the weak so strong? Where in you gods you defeat the tyrants? No stony tower, no wall of beaten brass, no airless dungeon, no strong link of iron can confine within the strength of spirits. But life, being wary of those worldly bars, never lacks power to dismiss itself. For I know, then the world shall know as well. That part of tyranny that weighs me down, I can shake it off with pleasure.
So can I. So every bond slave bears in his own hand the power to cancel his captivity.
Then why should Caesar be a tyrant? Poor man. I know he'd be a wolf, but he sees Romans are just sheep. I know he'd be no lion if Romans were not fawns. Those that with haste will build mighty fires, beginning it with weak straw. What trash is Rome? What rubbish? What garbage when it serves as the low fuel to illuminate such a vile thing as Caesar? Oh, grief, where have you led me? I perhaps say this for a willing bondslave. Then I know I must answer for it. But I am armed, so to such dangers I am indifferent.
You speak to Casper, and to such a woman who is no grinning tale. Wait my hand. Build up a faction to redress these griefs, and I shall set this foot of mine as far as he that is farthest.
There's a bargain made. Now know you, Casper. I've convinced already some of the noblest minded Romans to undertake with me a task of honourable, dangerous consequence. And I now know they wait for me at Pompey's porch. Tonight, there's no walking in the street, and the atmosphere is quite like the task we have at hand. Most fiery, most bloody, most dreadful.